Okay, so I figured this week, since I can't seem to keep things under 5 minutes, I would instead combine week 7 and week 8 into the same video because I kind of did them both at the same time. And that's because I have a problem with keeping, myself kind of like waiting for week 8. Sorry for whoever has to grade this. But if we take a look at week 7, our task was to create a website using only HTML. The website can be anything you like if it meets the following criteria: at least 3 pages with links to navigate between all pages, and 2 different size headers, list 3 images, table, and a form. And then the week 8 was essentially use only external CSS. Every element must be styled, and create a style rules using class ID and element selectors. So I went ahead and done that, and I created essentially a Dragon Ball Z tribute page. My list is actually styled already. It's up here. Looking at here at these things, I went ahead and added a hover element, and basically on hover it causes this little image to appear and kind of scroll outwards. These are actually links within the list. So if you click on them, they'll navigate to each different page, and you can actually click on this little Dragon Ball page here and go back, and it'll actually take you to this. Here are the images. I used several different ones throughout the entire page of every character as I saw fit. And this is the table listing the powers and Final Flash is basically, or not Final Flash, but TD, TRs, stuff like that. And then each one actually has a link as well that'll go to different pages. If you look, they're highlighted in blue. Piccolo, Gohan, and then Vegeta can also go to Goku. And then this one has a link to go back to the index. Finally would be the form tag, which actually I went ahead and created one. I used only one input, so if we put in my name, Travis Barnett, and then I used a select element. I styled both of these. You can swap between the different ones, and I actually added a little bit of JavaScript. That way when I click submit on this form, it does not close the page. It actually runs a little bit of JavaScript, which then says, here, I converted your form to JSON for you, and I did that with JSON. To show you what that looks like, we're going to go into the project really quickly. This is my index. As you can see, I have 2 different size headings here, as well as a couple of different p tags. Not all of the elements are styled, but that's just because not all the elements kind of necessarily need a style. They do all the text does have its own font, and I actually imported that from Google Fonts. And as you can see, I am using external style sheet. Right here is my list, which I use to basically create a navigation list that contains anchor tags to each of the different pages. I contain those within a nav element, which I put into the header. And then here is my form. And each one of my form's different inputs are collected, select, and then submit and reset buttons, which are styled over here on styles.css. I used a reset to start to set everything kind of back to normal, but then mine starts right about here. I set some CSS variables in the root to be able to use later on in my code. And then I applied the font family to the entire body. I styled all my anchor tags, all my UL and LI tags, all of my input tags, my select tags, my label tags, and my button tags the same exact way. So basically all of them are consistent. So that's my element selector. This is my class selector, a .current. And then this is my ID selector using the hashtag mychoiceform, or the £sign. And then I did do a media query to just kind of make things go a little bit better. If you inspect this, and we pull this up here, I used the media query to essentially make the page less, a little bit more responsive. It's not perfectly responsive, but a little bit more responsive. So if we want to take a look at the table, we can go to an individual character page. This is the table. Inside the table head, I put a TD, which basically explains what the table's about. And then each table row contains two TDs, both the name of the power as well as the excuse me, as well as the description of the power itself. This is one of those cases where the TR was not styled at all, and I didn't really need to do that on anything. And then, yeah, so that's my project. And, oh, this is the JavaScript. Basically, I grab a hold of the choice form, right? I wrote a function that will take in the form and then convert whatever data is in that form into a JavaScript object. And then, so I add an event listener to the choice form. The event would be submit. It grabs a hold of the event object, right? And it first it prevents the default, so it prevents the form from submitting and reloading the page or navigating. Then I get the data by passing in the form using e.target. And then this is actually a console log that's no longer necessary. And then I alert to the screen, JSON.stringify, the return response from that function that I wrote. And then I actually reset the form. All right,